pistachios. Wow.
Is that what that noise was? That big.
That was.
Yeah.
It threw him fucking off. Like, he looked at me like, Aaron, what are you doing? Like, I got a dirty look from Vinny, the stage guy. Like, you're going to see it on camera. It's just going to be that moment in, like, the second, like, when you're transitioning off your first or second joke, and then he drops a bag of pistachios on the
I did.
floor.
I was like,
what are you doing,
I watched
man?
the footage of it, and during my set, there's just this big, loud, like, crashing sound. I'm like, what?
You ruined his fucking demo,
I'm like, what
dick.
the hell is that?
Not
You're
enough
welcome.
pistachios. And nonetheless, these are not already pre-cracked pistachios. He's got to crack them in his mouth. Like, he might as well have been gas station fucking peanuts, all right?
You can just tell people the crowd was going nuts.
Hey!
They were for a minute. I'm like, are they okay? Yeah, Mr. Aaron over here, Mr. I don't give a fuck about the system. You can bring those pistachios into the museum.
Did somebody stop you guys at the door or something?
There's nobody.
No, dude, we didn't even know where the fuck to go. We were like, we had like 2 people outside smoking, and your sign that I saw after the fact, we actually walked down to the bar and then came back because we didn't know which stadium we were in.
That was the thing. They told me they were going to have like a big thing telling people, like a sign to tell people where it was, and they just didn't fucking have it.
They had a sign.
So I took like a page of my set list and I wrote fucking Vinnie Santino live and just taped
that
it
was
to the
yours?
door.
That
was me, yeah.
I guessed it.
Where did you perform?
The Orlando Shakespeare Center.
Okay, yeah.
Which is shorted to Orlando
Shakes.
Shakes, like a heroin addict coming off of drugs. You know, that was like...
Yeah.
I just did it. If you guys can't see it,
Aaron
and that's how we're going to
pantomime
transition into the announcement.
pantomime
That's how
shaking.
we're going to transition into the announcement. Since I just did a Michael J. Fox and nobody got to see, we are going to YouTube. We are going to Twitch. We are going to Facebook Live in a professional studio setting. Chris, how do you feel about that? Yes, we are. I had a meeting with a guy this morning. It was so cool. The guy bought me coffee, but he didn't buy me coffee.
So he's broke.
He's broke, yeah, and he needs a star-winning
That's a bad
show
sign.
to bring him to the next level of his
How's he
career.
broken? That's
So,
a studio.
Because he has a studio. That's
I
It's
call
really
shenanigans.
well, look at Rick and Anthony's studio,
They have money,
okay?
though. They could buy their own coffee and beer and get drunk on the podcast.
Okay, I don't know where you're going with this. You are failing. Did you smoke more weed on break? Okay, so you're just halfway through your high right now. You're just on that coasting position.
Which guy?
Which guy?
I can't buy coffee, but I got a studio guy.
It was a joke, Dick. I mean, come on. It wasn't a very funny one. Not everyone. Unlike Vinny last night, whose every one-liner was fucking killer. I mean, Chris was too big to get it, but I mean, like, Chris was. I couldn't tell if Chris was laughing or imagining things going on with the lights behind you, or if he was just staring at the microphone, kind of like he is right now.
I was just watching.
Yeah, I thought
Yeah, he's a people watcher. He goes to Lake Eola on
He's taking
LSD,
it.
so.
goes to Lake Eola on LSD.
Yeah, or did you go to, or was that Lancaster Park?
Lancaster Park?
Lancaster, I don't remember.
That's the one over here on, that's the closest one to us
Skate
right
park,
now.
that one? Oh, okay.
No, it's where my kid has some kind of
I don't
weekly.
know. I don't remember.
Anyways, I digress. Exactly, he was on LSD. he So, anyways, it has been a very odd day, guys. And I have to tell you why. I've been planning for like 3 days for this whole, like, Chris and I are into gear and stuff, and we talk about guitar shit all the time. And I end up, like, packing I have to go to my parents' house this morning at like 9 o'clock in the morning to get these fucking tables. Because I didn't want to do it last night because I was a lazy bastard. And I get there, it's 9 o'clock in the morning, my wife wants to go see the kid, and because the kid's not coming back to the house, because I can't fit the kid in the goddamn car because of these fucking tables. Anyways, this whole thing lasts like 5 hours. There's like a debacle every hour of my day today. And finally, I get to the gear swap, as they call it, and I expect to sell like maybe $200, $300 worth of equipment. I got quite a bit of shit. And I even bring the guitar or bring the amp so people could test stuff out. You know, I know this is such an interesting part of the story, but I sit there for 5 hours. It was 90-plus degrees in a brewery. What's the mixing room or where they make the goddamn beer? And it is so goddamn hot in there. just like it is right here, right fucking now. It's like 90 plus degrees because there are 3 male testosterone going up, and a lady who's just like, I was
born in the
like
heat.
a KFC
Molded
chicken
by
right
the
now.
heat.
We're sweating like balls. How do you live here,
I was
motherfucker?
born in the heat. I was molded by it. I didn't even see 94 till I was a man.
And that's why I let Chris talk. It's because I look so
You
much
merely
better than he
adopted the
does.
heat.
So Vinny had a show last night. Chris has a new show with Kyle Eagle and Boris Douglas
they're helping
Garb,
me produce
and
it.
he's going to talk all about it on another show. And he's a big deal now. Like, he's got more people on his Facebook page than some local comedians. I'm talking like 900 plus fucking people like his stuff. While our show only has like 20.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. It doesn't. It doesn't have 20.
It has 19.
It has 19. That's only because I forced you to like the page, Vinny. Cece gets a pass because I haven't given her the link yet, you know.
Oh man, I thought I was gonna ride that longer than tonight.
Boom.
Yeah, well, I was going to tie this into one of Vinny's one-liners, but we'll just move on. Because I'm not good at one-liners.
Which one was it? No,
I don't know. I was just saying that. Say a word so it works for me. Ostentatiously. How do I say things? Thank you. That's what I was trying to say. Because I use my resource. She's my walking fucking Wikipedia.
Wikipedia.
That's
Wikipedia.
There he goes again.
Wiccasaurus. There we are. Wiccasaurus. You are Wiggasaurus to me because that's what you look like, the drug dealer from the town.
Oh my god.
Fantastic, guys. I have a topic. Do you ever feel like you're born in the wrong fucking decade? Or do you feel like you're in the wrong decade? We'll start with Vinny, because he did a little scrunchy face, and he was getting ready to say he wanted to be John Travolta.
No, I mean, while I would fit in those decades pretty well, I don't think I'm in the wrong decade. I think I'm in the right. I don't think I could handle not having the internet because I'm such a young millennial.
But you don't know you don't have the internet.
Yeah.
Okay,
You don't
maybe
know
yes.
you don't have
Okay,
it.
let's go with that idea.
But
yeah.
I'm so dependent on it as a resource for everything. I don't think I could handle not having it.
Yeah, I agree with you. Cece, what do you think?
I feel like I am a little bit technologically impaired, so I feel like
So you're my mom.
Yeah, like I mean,
Are you
I should
calling
be better.
Vinny to ask you how to turn your phone on?
I mean, I might now that I know he's so great with it. I just might have to. But no, like I grew up when the internet was like just starting and everything
How
was
old
just
are you?
happening. I'm 28.
Okay.
So like everything was like I really watched it all grow. Like I was in the first group of kids that got cell phones, and I was in the.
So did you have what
I
was
there
your
when
first cell
Facebook
phone?
came around. Oh god, I don't remember. It was before like Apple didn't have cell phones and all that stuff. It was,
So you had a Nokia.
it was one of those little
You
ones.
would have a sidekick.
And it didn't even.
Oh my God.
It was one of those ones. It was before they even had cell phone plans, and it was all like you just load your phones, and then like as technology grew, they started to do the plans and like other things. But I mean, it only was a phone. They didn't have games on them at first, and then they added games, and they were just like you had like Tetris or like 2 other things you could do.
Tetris on
And
phones
so-
changed the world.
It was the best. It was so good. And like the last game system I know how to play was like Nintendo 64.
Don't worry,
So,
Chris still has one.
it's
It's like 4 feet away
I
from
think
me.
if I had been born a little bit sooner, like I think life would be easier for me.
Chris, do you feel like you were born in the
When I
wrong
was
decade?
younger, I felt like I should have been born in medieval times because I was obsessed with swords.
Oh, he's going way the
Obsessed
fuck
with
back.
swords.
He wants to go.
all that and being
So-
a knight and just dragons. I was a big dragon fan. And,
Wow.
But then I was like, I like to pass till
Vinny, wow. That was Vinny was just telling you to shut the fuck up, you nerd. He's like, I'm a really big fan of dragons. Wow,
I really love dragons.
it was so great.
I had 2 arrows.
Oh my god, that was fantastic. I'm a really big fan of dragons. Wow,
Mr. Game of Thrones,
Fag.
and you don't like dragons.
I just see Vinny.
Oh,
I know he doesn't say the word, but I could just go. I'm so into dragons, man.
Yeah,
It's like I could just be Vinny just not saying anything.
For
He just
somebody
says,
who
wow,
watches
under
Game
his
of
breath. He's
Thrones,
like,
you don't
"Fag."
like dragons? That's real interesting.
Just the rationale.
You gotta go wow, and then in his brain he's like fag. You know. Like, by the way, this is not a anti-gay show.
I'm a nerd.
Call Chris a fag. I really just wanted to call Chris a fag.
I mean, you could, but it wouldn't bode well.
So I was thinking about this because the reason is I've been trying to find a happy TV to watch with all the negative shit that I watch, and I started watching that 70s show, and I was like, man, I am such a fucking mix between Eric Foreman and Hyde.
I can totally see that.
Like I feel, but back then I wanted to be as cool as like the Fonz, but I'd be like the Fonz is like the lamest thing on. He wrote a shock, man. He wrote a shock. You know, the worst hour of TV in history is where the Fonz rise a goddamn shark. I mean, they make fun of it in the show in reference to the Fonz, and I'm just like, I feel like I would be one of those guys who would be on. There's Black Power. What was the other one? I know it's a really weird thing.
He's jumping.
There's okay. So in the 70s, there was this really weird group of psychedelic drug induced crazy people. They took like LSD into their eyes and stuff, but they had like the greatest slogans. They were like the White Rabbit Party, but it had nothing to do with like white nationalism or anything. They were just like everybody should die. They were just like this nihilist white rabbit group. It's so funny. As if this is something that I want to talk about eventually, is this white rabbit group, because they're so ridiculous. Like I read like there was a band that I saw once that kind of followed this indoctrination of this group, and they're like, yeah man, LSD in your eyes like every day, kick puppies, but love everyone. It was like they were anti-humanity, they were anti-animals, but they loved drugs and people.
Oh my
it was like, don't hate black people, man. Just like, it was like Cheech and Chong on a whole fucking, but it was in England. It was just the dumb, and I know, but I feel like I should have been born in the 70s, like in the 60s, saw the Doors, and then moved into the 70s and just been like one of those people always craving.
I would love living in that era, man. You know, that music is so great, and you had everyone there at one time, man. All the greats. Pink Floyd was in its prime, then Led Zeppelin, then the Doors.
I mean, we listened to
Hendrix. It's like everyone was there at the same time.
Yeah.
And Janis Joplin and all these crazy artists and all these psychedelic bands you've never heard called
you
Nighthawk.
get Wes Montgomery, you got Chuck Berry in his prime, you got all these great fucking musicians, B.B. King, Eric Clapton, you know, all that. You got the Yardbirds. I would have loved to be born in that time.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, really.
As a nerd, I'm as well as a music buff.
There was so many different kinds of music, though, right? Like at that time, and it was all great. You had all the doo-wop groups, you had Frank Sinatra, everybody, and all that other, and Black Sabbath and Zeppelin and all that other stuff going on.
Yeah, you had
all
like
at
this.
At the same time. There's never been anything like that in history musically.
Bro.
Yeah, because you had like all these. Like, even in the late 60s, I think that the idea of the 60s kind of came over to the 70s, and I want to just live as, like, a 20-year-old in the, like, 65 up to living, like, to 79 and be able to see from, like, Nighthawk Nighthawk has this, like, really great riff that I fell in love with. There's all these fuzz rock, you know, like, Chris, when we talk about the fuzz faces, like the old ones that Hendrix uses and shit, where in CeCe's like, what the fuck are you guys talking about? The Price is Right wasn't even around in the 60s.
No.
Yeah. Bob Barker was irrelevant in the 60s.
It was a great time. I mean, it's...
Plus comedy.
Yeah.
Plus
George
fucking
Carlin
comedy,
Richard
man.
Pryor,
George Carlin.
come up,
Exactly.
Red Fox was kicking ass.
Yep.
I mean, the blacks were getting away with making fun of whites like they were a bunch of meth heads from Sanford.
Everyone was getting away with making fun of everyone.
Brilliant.
Then you had Richard
Dude,
Pryor.
it could say anything.
Free love, all that, man.
Even Eddie Murphy still had bad words in his comedy. Like, he wasn't doing "Look Who's Talking" douchebag.
And then
now.
you had A Living Color with all the good people in it.
That's
80s,
bud.
sorry.
It was 80s, but still, it's cool. Because if you look at the 60s, 70s, and 80s, it's just like the trends were so cool. Like, bell bottoms had weird pants. Everybody was wearing Jinkos when nobody knew what
I love the
Jinkos
style
were yet.
of houses like back then. I love that style.
BK
Everything
Nights.
was cheaper, too. You could do all kinds
Yeah, American products lasted more than 3
Yeah.
months. And everything, I mean, everybody was still saying the damn Chinese.
Oh, gosh.
I mean, like, just all these fucking crazy shit.
Minus
you know?
that.
Yeah, minus...
Huh?
As of now, we're just hating each other.
Minus the
now
racism.
everybody
Minus the Vietnam War.
back to racism because it's
If it wasn't
funny.
for Vietnam, the 60s would have been great.
Yeah.
It would have been
That's true.
Especially
That's
10
wrong.
years after
Gosh,
Jim
yeah.
Crow.
Yeah, the blacks can fight in the war
gosh.
now. We don't
We're talking
care. They
music. We're
can
not
they can
talking
die on the other
music.
side. They can die on the